Hello, my name is Megan Rudolph, and this is my anti-oppression policy assessment assignment. Um, Both of my children are currently sleeping, so I'm sorry that I am outside in my backyard. So I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation with you here in just one second. Okay, so when doing this assignment, I found that I realized that a lot of things could be racist or oppressive. But as far as finding policies that actually state them was a little bit more difficult. So I ended up finding four. So the first one that I found was a school near where I am, and it had to do with sexuality. So it basically talked about education, equal educational opportunities for all students within the district, and it named a whole bunch of different discriminatory areas. Um, but sexuality had nothing to do with it. So the population oppressed was the LGBTQIA2S plus. Um, they're impacted because they're not specifically addressed in the policy. And the altered policy basically just adds sexuality into that. And then I also added not a consequence, but like what to do if. So I put like if an individual feels that he or she has experienced, witnessed, or has other information regarding possible discrimination, the individual should immediately notify the administration of the district. The district policy is then to investigate all discrimination complaints. So hopefully this will make them feel like they are represented in the policy, and they don't feel excluded because they weren't specifically named. So they know that they have some comfort there. My second policy that I found was related to dress code, and this was in another school in my district. And it talks about, it talks about clothing, no profane language. So the school that I'm at pretty much allows students to wear anything they want as long as it's represented in a positive way. So if they wanted to wear a Biden shirt, they can wear that as long as there's nothing vulgar or anything about it. If they wanted to wear a Trump shirt, they could wear that as long as for the same rules that apply. So as long as it's positive, our district allows that. But no undergarments should be visible. They can't wear pants, or their pants short skirts must be at waist level. So they can't be down below their bottoms with their underwear hanging out. It says exceptions to these dress codes are for religious reasons. So I changed the policy to also add cultural reasons, because different cultures require different wardrobe. So, like, in other words, when I played high school basketball, there was a girl who was not allowed to wear shorts for a school that I played against. So she had to change her uniform shorts into a skirt. Um, so I added the word cultural into here. And hopefully, before students who were potentially excused from the dress code due to only religious beliefs, now if you have a cultural concern, you can feel free to go to administration and talk to them about that as well. Another policy that I found was within the district that I actually, my employer. And it's the original policy was violence against women and sexual misconduct and dating violence. So the policy itself I actually like, and I don't really have much to say about, but like the title of the policy, I was like, whoa, like violence against women. So not just women experience sexual misconduct and dating violence, it happens to men as well. So, into transgender and everything else. So I went ahead and thought that the policy should be violence against all people / sexual misconduct and dating violence. So again, I didn't change the policy itself, but I changed the title of it, because the people who are oppressed is anyone who does not identify as a woman. And the impact would be by changing the word to women to all people, it represents individuals of all gender. So no matter what an individual identifies as, they're covered under this policy from sexual misconduct and dating violence. And then the fourth policy that I found was about interviewing students. So because I work in career tech, we interview students for our programs. So I have access to all of their school information. So their race, their gender, I have their grades, their transcripts, all of that. And then I sit and actually like interview them one-on-one and apply and accept them into our programs. That's just the way that we do things at the school that I'm at. So I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but basically it's talking about you have to take place in an interview. It's a 15-minute window. It's about you. We do offer it virtually or online because of COVID. Typically it had to be in person. So basically these students come in and they have 15 minutes to sell themselves to us and explain why we should accept them into our program. So it does say that they have to do this, they don't have a choice. And then we we do a rubric. So basically we take their attendance, their discipline, their grades, and their interview is basically what we use in order to decide if we're going to accept them into our program. So 25% of their score is their interview. So if there is a teacher who is racist or just simply does not like, they're like, oh, I have too many girls, I need more boys, or so sexist or whatever, they can rate the students lower on their interview. So in theory, then you don't have to accept that student into your program. It's something actually that Butler Tech is rewriting this policy as we speak. So they're working on it now. I spoke to our director of innovative teaching and learning, who is also now our assistant superintendent, about this. And he said that they are currently rewriting this policy because they see that it needs some work. So basically the population oppressed is all sophomores who are going through an interview process and being accepted into a Butler Tech program. So I wrote here, because interviewers have access to protected class information, such as their race, during the interview process, it lacks equity. So would it be more equitable to do a lottery process, which is what Cincinnati public schools do? So an altered policy would basically saying that you could do is that there could be a lottery process where students can apply to or choose, their first or second program is kind of how we do it. And they're going to put them in that order. Like, I want this program first, this program second, and there's a lottery. And if you have 25 seats in your program, then the lottery goes and you have 25 seats filled without knowing anything about any of your students. I don't know quite how I feel about that. I have issues both ways. I see how it becomes fair and equitable for the students to get into the program. But I also really like interviewing students and meeting them and getting to know them. So I guess you could do the lottery process first and then meet with your students afterwards and get to know them. But it just makes it more fair and equitable for the students. So thank you, and I hope you have a great day.